Hello students, welcome to the online session of data analytics using R. In today's session, we are going to study about control structures in R programming language. So control structures are nothing but the statements or constructs that are used to control the flow of program execution or to control the execution of block of statement. Control structures are basically available in all the programming languages, and in every programming language the function or the way of behavior of these control structures are same. The only difference is in syntax of those control structure in each programming language. The only difference is in the syntax. Otherwise, they behave in a same manner in every programming language. So the commonly used control structures in programming languages are if else. These statements are used to test some condition, and on the basis of the output of that condition it execute a block of statement. Then we have for loop. This for loop is used to execute fixed number of statement for the fixed number of time. Then we have while loop. While loop is used to execute a block of statement on the basis of some condition, and when the condition until the condition is true, it execute that block of statement. Then we have repeat loop, or we can say repeat statement, which is used to repeat a block of statement for infinite number of time. And to stop this repeat loop, we need to use break statement or break control structure. So break is another control structure in our programming language, which is used to break the execution of any loop. Then next we have next control structure, which is used to skip the iteration of a loop. So we are going to study all these control structures in today's session. For now, we'll start with the basic control structure, that is if else condition checking control statement. So here I am going to show you how this control structure works in our programming language by taking some simple examples, okay? Because as I told you, the way of behavior of this control structure, the function, the purpose of this control structure, all these control structures are same in all programming languages. The difference is in syntax only. So you just concentrate on the syntax of this control structure in our programming language. So first I am declaring one variable or one vector with some value, that is 4, for example. Now we'll see how to execute if control structure in R. So if A is less than 0, for example, if A is less than 0, print A is negative number. Okay. I'm just printing this, I'm just writing this if else statement to check whether given number is negative or positive. Okay. So if it is less than 0, then obviously it is a negative number. Else print is positive. Okay. So this is our simple if else statement to check whether given number is negative or positive. So here, to execute this statement, if else control structure, you need to write down a keyword if, then in parentheses write down the condition that you want to check. There is no need to use then keyword here. In our programming language, there is no need to use then keyword with if statement. And then within opening and curly braces, write down the message that you want to display if your condition is true. Now here, if A is less than 0, if this condition becomes true, then it will execute the statement A is negative number. Otherwise it will enter in a else loop, and then it will print a is a positive number if that a is greater than 0. Okay, so this is simple if else loop. See, now a is equal to 4, that's why we got message a is a positive number. So this is how we can use if else statement in our programming language. Now same in other programming languages also we have same function of if and else statement. You can execute similar program in any other language. The only difference is in the syntax. That is, here we are not using then keyword to print to enter in the if part of this particular statement. Okay, and while writing this else part, okay, while writing this else part in our programming language, you need to write else keyword immediately after closing curly brace of if part. Okay, see, here this if else statement is not a part of any program. This if else statement is not a part of any function. That's why you need to write this else statement immediately after closing brace of if statement. Okay, this is only condition. So this is how if else statement is executed in R. Now we'll see how to execute for loop. So here for is a looping statement. For is used to execute a block of statements for the fixed number of time. When we know the number of iterations to be performed, in that case we can use for loop. So for just concentrate on the syntax of this for loop. For I in, we use in keyword here, 1 to 10. Okay, so here I is an index variable. Instead of I, you can use any letter as an index variable, but the best practice is always use I as an index variable. It is a best programming practice. Okay, so for I in, now I am running this I variable from 1 to 10. So we already know that colon is a range operator in our programming language. If we want to specify the range from lower bound to upper bound, then we use this colon operator. It means that I want to run this I variable from 1 to 10. Then opening curly brace, then here I am printing a square of I into I. Simple program is here, or simple loop is here. See, this is how you can execute for loop. The function of for loop in R is same as that of function of for loop in any other programming language. The only difference is in this syntax. See, okay. Now we'll execute while loop. So here in while loop, see, when we use for loop, in that for loop we just write down the name of index variable, and that index variable is gets initialized within that loop only, and it gets incremented or decremented within that loop only. There is no need to initialize variable separately. There is no need to to increment or decrement that index variable separately in a for loop. Okay, but when we want to use while loop, in that case we need to initialize that index variable before the use of while loop, and we need to increment or decrement the value of index variable in that for loop itself. Okay, so here I am using same index variable, that is I is equal to 1. Okay, now while I is less than equal to 10. Now see, I is initialized to 1, so initial value is 1, lower bound is 1, and my while condition is while I is less than equal to 10. Means I want to run that index variable from 1 to 10. Print. Now see, I am printing square root of 1 to 10 number. I want to print square root of 1 to 10 number. So here in R we have built-in function sqrt, which is used to print the square root of any variable or any number which is given in the parenthesis. Okay, so I want to print the square root of 1 to 10 number. So print sqrt of I, then I is equals to I plus 1. I am incrementing the value of I variable. Okay, because in while loop we need to increment it, the value of that index variable by some instruction. See, this is the output of while loop. So this is how we can execute while loop in our programming language. Now here the syntax of this while loop in R is same as that of syntax of while loop in any other programming language. Okay. Now we'll see the use of repeat, break and next statement. Okay. So repeat statement or repeat loop is basically used to repeat a number of instructions for the infinite number of time. Okay. It execute instruction without checking any condition, and to break that infinite loop we need to use break statement. Okay, we have already studied how to use break statement with switch clause, with switch case in high level programming language. So in switch case also break statement is used to break the condition, and here in our programming also break statement is used to break the execution of loop. Okay, so we'll take one simple example. Suppose I is equal to what? Suppose I is equals to 2, for example. Then I am using repeat statement. Repeat print I. See, I am printing the value of I. Initially I is equals to 2. You can take any random value. I want to print value of I from 2. So print I is equals to 2. Then I is equals to I plus 2. I want to print even numbers. Okay. Now see, if I execute this loop like this, repeat I is equals to 2, repeat print I, and I is equals to I plus 2. Now if I execute only this loop, then it will give me all even numbers without in means here I am not checking any condition, so it will print all even numbers for the infinite number of times. But we don't want infinite execution of this particular loop. So here we need to check some conditions. Suppose I want to print even numbers starting with 2 up to 20. Okay, up to 20. So here I am checking that condition if I is less than equal to 20. If it is less than equal to 20, then break this loop. Okay, break the loop. Now let's take example for repeat statement. So here I am declaring I is equals to 2. I is a vector with value 2. Then I want to print even numbers starting with 2. So here if I write print I, okay, and then I is equals to I plus 2. I want to print even numbers, that's why I am incrementing value of I by 2. Now if I execute only this loop, that is repeat print I, then I is equals to I plus 2. Now here we are not checking any condition, and without checking any condition we are just printing the value of I. So it will go into the infinite loop, but we don't want to execute this loop for infinite number of time. Then to stop this particular loop we need to check some condition. If now suppose if I write this condition, if I is equal to 22, for example, then this loop will get executed, and then break means if I is equals to 22, then break the loop means this when the value of I will become 22, it will break the loop. Means this loop is used to print even numbers starting with 2 to to 20. Okay, so this is how we can use break statement to break any loop, to stop the execution of any loop. See, so this is the use of repeat and break statement. Repeat statement, actually this repeat statement is not commonly used in any statistical or analysis language, but still if we want to repeat any block of statement for infinite number of time, then we can go for the use of repeat statement, and to break the flow of that execution we can use break statement. Then next we have next control structure. So next control structure is used to skip the iterations. Okay, so we'll see one example for that. Suppose for I in 1 to 50. Now see, I'm sorry, for I in 1 colon 50, I want to print first 50 numbers, for example. So here I can simply write print I. If I want to print first 50 number, then I can simply use this loop for I in 1 to 50 and then print I. Okay, but here if I want to skip some iterations, okay, if I want to skip some iteration, then I can simply write if I is less than equal to, suppose I want to skip first 20 iterations. Okay, then I can simply write if I is less than equal to 20, then next, and then print I. See, first 20 iterations or first 20 numbers are skipped from the sequence. Okay, see, initially I wanted to print first 50 number, that's why I have written this loop for I in 1 to 50, but after that I have decided to skip first 20 iterations. So I check the condition whether I is less than equal to 20. If it is, then skip the iteration by using next. Okay, see, if this condition is true, then this next statement will get executed. It means it will not go to this statement, it will go for the further iteration. Okay, so this is how next control structure is used in our programming language. Now let's take the example for switch case statement in R. So switch case statements or switch control structure is basically used as a substitute to longer if-else statement. If we have if-else ladder, if we want to check multiple conditions against a single choice, then instead of using longer if-else statements, we can use switch case statement. So in switch case statement, first we have one expression or we have some choice, and against that choice we check multiple condition, and the condition which matches with the given choice, that gets executed as a output output of that switch case statement. So here the syntax of switch case statement in R is that first we write switch case or switch keyword, then we write some condition or some expression, and after that we write all the cases that we want to check. Okay, so this is the simple syntax of switch case statement in R. So let's take one example for this. Here I am declaring two vectors, suppose v1 equal to 2 and v2 is 4, for example. Now here I want to write switch case statement to perform mathematical operation on these two vectors. Okay, addition, subtraction, multiplication and division. So here first we need to take one output variable where we are fetching the output of switch case. So op is my output variable, switch. So first is my condition or expression that I want to check. So I am checking for addition. Okay, If my choice is addition, then addition equal to, if it is addition, now this is my expression. After that I am writing cases. Okay, so if case is addition or if case is plus sign, then v1 plus v2, this case will get executed. If it is minus sign, then v1 minus v2. If it is multiplication case, then perform multiplication of these two vectors. And if it is division, then perform division operation of these two vectors. Okay, so this is a simple single line switch case statement in R, where we, as a first parameter, we write the choice code or the condition that we want to check against all these cases. So I want to check whether given operation is plus. If it is plus, then go for first case, execution of first case. If it is minus, then go for execution of second case, and so on. Okay, there is no need to use break statement here. Now OP is 6. See, V1 is 2, V2 is 4, and our condition or expression is plus. So this plus matches with the first condition, that is V1 plus V2. That's why we got the addition of 2 plus 4, that is 6. So this is how switch case can be executed in our programming language. In next session, we are going to study how to write user-defined functions in our programming language, and in that session, we are going to use all these control structures in function. Okay, so this is all about today's session. Thank you.